Hello, and welcome. 5 times people said crazy things that turned out true. People say off-the-wall things all the time, even famous celebrities. The rest of us should engage our analytical thinking to decide if we need to give these wild statements any attention or not. Most of the time, we've got better things to engage in and should dismiss them. Sometimes, folks have made claims that seemed crazy, even to relatively intelligent and analytical people. Yet, they turned out to be true, and the speaker should have been lauded as a hero and not a fool. Truth 1. John Lennon drew ridicule for claiming the FBI tapped his phone. The famous musician John Lennon appeared on the Dick Cavett Show with his wife, Yoko Ono. Lennon mentioned his belief that the FBI had tapped his phone to gather evidence. Cavett ridiculed the idea, and very few believed it. After the Freedom of Information Act passed in the 1990s, it turned out that the FBI had spied on many famous celebrities, including Lennon, Hemingway, and even members of the Monkees. Truth 2. The McDonald's coffee lady drew scorn for her legitimate claim. Sure, coffee is hot, and accidents happen. Still, Stella Liebeck was 79 when she suffered third-degree burns to her pelvis after spilling coffee. She required 8 days of hospitalization, skin grafts, and 2 more years of treatment. Ms. Liebeck tried to settle with McDonald's for a reasonable $20,000 to cover her treatment, but the company refused her offer. Many people scoffed at the idea, saying she should have been more careful. Later, she won $160,000 in damages after a jury found McDonald's 80% responsible. The jury also awarded her $2 million in punitive damages because McDonald's had been warned the coffee was too hot before. Truth 3. The medical community dismissed Ignaz Philipp Semmelweis when he said germs cause diseases. Until the 1800s, puerperal fever, sometimes called childbed fever, afflicted many mothers and often proved fatal. Dr. Semmelweis found that washing hands with an antiseptic solution reduced mortality to less than 1%. At the time, the doctor found that the solution worked, but he could not explain why. His papers on the topic conflicted with established medical wisdom. Some doctors even felt offended by the idea that they had dirty hands and mocked Semmelweis. Eventually, the doctor suffered from a nervous breakdown and died in an asylum where he was treated cruelly. Years later, Pasteur could confirm germ theory, and vindicated Dr. Semmelweis. Truth 4. Martha Mitchell tried to break the story of Watergate early. U.S. Attorney John Mitchell caught his wife, Martha, on the phone. She tried to tell reporters what she knew about the dirty business of politics. Her husband interrupted the phone call and held her tranquilized to keep her quiet. Thus, for many of the decades since the Watergate break-in scandal, she was a hidden figure in the scandal. Truth 5. Dr. Bennet Omalu discovered the connection between brain injuries and long-term neurological effects, but the NFL dismissed his concerns. Dr. Omalu performed an autopsy on Mike Webster, a former NFL player with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He uncovered chronic traumatic encephalopathy, sometimes called CTE, a condition associated with brain injury. The NFL called for an immediate retraction and did not admit that traumatic brain injury could generate lifelong medical problems until about 7 years later.